What if I told you that the key to surviving the AI revolution isn't actually found in the future, but is buried deep in our ancient past? Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going on a pretty fascinating journey across the entire spectrum of human knowledge. We like to call this the Digital Alchemist, how AI reclaims our lost wisdom. You see, we aren't just looking at the future of tech today. We're actually exploring how the absolutely breakneck speed of artificial intelligence is forcing us to look backward. We are using it to reclaim, validate, and archive the incredible resilience of ancient human wisdom. It's a wild concept, but it's happening right now. So, here is our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to start at the bleeding edge, the July 2026 AI frontier. Then we'll explore this new AI Generalist mindset, before looking backward to see how modern science is actually validating indigenous knowledge, preserving traditional craftsmanship, and even decoding human mythology.
All right, Section 1, the July 2026 AI Frontier. Let's talk about this chaotic new landscape.
Let's be real, July 2026 has arguably been the most consequential month in AI history. We are looking at a fundamentally transformed playing field right now. Claude Fable 5 made a massive global return after that regulatory suspension, and it immediately reclaimed the top spot, scoring an insane 80.3% on the SWE Bench Pro for software engineering. Meanwhile, OpenAI's GPT 5.6 is sitting in a government-gated preview, showing off these frankly unbelievable agentic coding capabilities, and Gemini 3.1 Pro is just dominating when it comes to reasoning and cost efficiency. The sheer horsepower of these models is staggering, and they're literally reshaping what's possible across every single industry.
But with all that immense power comes a very real wake-up call. I want you to think about this number, 11.7%. According to a recent MIT study, 11.7% of every job today can already be automated, right now, today. This is not some sci-fi prediction for the year 2030. It is a measurement of our current reality. AI spans text, data, images, video, voice, code, the whole shebang. If you're just using a chatbot to write a polite email once a week, you're falling way behind. Adaptation isn't optional anymore. It's absolutely essential.
Moving on to Section 2, the rise of AI Generalists. It is time to adapt.
So, how do you survive this shift? Well, it requires moving from being a cook to becoming a chef. Think about it. Most people using AI today are basically cooks. They copy a prompt they saw on Twitter, paste it in, and just kind of cross their fingers for a good result. But the second that prompt fails on a new problem, the cook completely freezes. They have no idea why it broke. An AI generalist, on the other hand, is a chef. The head chef doesn't cook every single dish on the menu. They orchestrate the pastry chef, the grill chef, the saucier. In our digital world, those specialist chefs are AI agents. The human head chef understands the entire system, adapts when things go off the rails, and designs the overall architecture. They manage the edge cases where human judgment is just irreplaceable.
Which brings us to Section 3, validating indigenous technical knowledge.
While we are busy teaching machines to think in literal milliseconds, what can we learn from systems that took centuries to perfect? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it shows the Himalayan chawl. This is a traditional dugout rainwater storage pond, usually about 9 meters by 9 meters and just under a meter deep. For generations, Himalayan villagers have built these things to harvest water for their cattle and for irrigation. And here is where it gets cool. Today, researchers are using AI-driven climate modeling and cross-sectoral validation to prove what indigenous farmers have known for centuries. These traditional practices are structurally flawless and perfectly optimized for their specific microclimates.
Another mind-blowing example is the Rolu. It's a traditional rain gauge, and it's literally just made from a solid 3x3 by 1.5 foot granite block. Local farmers use this 7.4-inch deep hole carved into it to precisely measure rainfall. When that specific hole fills up with water, they know with absolute certainty that the soil moisture is exactly sufficient to start sowing dryland crops like sorghum or castor. It costs practically nothing, and it's just pure practical genius. By feeding this historical indigenous technical knowledge into modern agricultural algorithms, we're bridging ancient, grounded rationality with next-generation crop predictability.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, preserving traditional craftsmanship. Craftsmanship is basically this skillful creation of objects by hand passed down through really rigorous apprenticeship. It's evolved from prehistoric natural tools to ancient Egyptian sculptures to the stunning stained glass of medieval Europe, all the way to modern Japanese pottery.
Today, nations are finally realizing that this knowledge is incredibly fragile. So AI is now being deployed to digitally archive, motion capture, and preserve these centuries-old techniques before they just vanish into history. We are essentially using the most advanced tech available to ensure the master artisan's legacy survives.
We even see this ancient wisdom solving totally modern problems in how we build our future cities. Modern architects are drawing heavily on classical architecture precedents, things like passive cooling, natural light optimization, and proportional massing. These aren't just pretty aesthetic choices. They are environmentally efficient, centuries-proven solutions. And AI is actively helping us model and integrate these exact ancient strategies into sustainable green buildings today.
And now, Section 5, Mythology and Human Connection, the underlying stories that bind us.
Beneath all of our craftsmanship and building lies the bedrock of human storytelling, which is comparative mythology. This is the systematic comparison of myths drawn from a wide variety of cultures. So the crucial point is that in a world increasingly run by algorithms, scholars are now using AI's immense pattern recognition capabilities to analyze global mythologies. It's helping us reconstruct ancestral narratives and decode the very source code of human psychology and cultural transmission.
When AI models actually help us cross-reference these global myths, something incredible emerges. Entirely disparate cultures, separated by massive oceans, share highly specific motifs. We're talking about world egg creation stories, flood cataclysms, dying and reborn deities, trickster bargains, and initiatory underworld descents. These aren't just simple fairy tales. They actively encoded critical social laws, subsistence practices, and even complex astronomical data, so that vital knowledge could survive for generations before written language even existed.
Finally, Section 6, the psychology of human behavior.
So what ultimately ties the AI prompt engineer of 2026 together with the traditional master craftsman? It boils down to this. Transforming insights into action is a discipline of observation, intentionality, empathy, and consistency. Whether you're an AI generalist designing complex multi-agent software systems or a master teaching an apprentice how to properly shape clay, the underlying human discipline is identical. It requires repeated, deliberate application of insight over time.
And the results of that consistent application? They're profound. It creates meaningful human impact, nurtures real relationships, fosters collective improvement, and leaves a lasting legacy of thoughtful engagement. These are the core elements that build deep credibility, resilience, and really promote overall human well-being. And honestly, here is the secret. No machine, no matter how advanced its benchmarks are, can artificially generate genuine human trust. Trust absolutely requires the persistent, empathetic engagement that only a human being can provide.
I want to leave you with a final provocative thought today. As artificial intelligence continues to orchestrate more and more of our daily future, will human empathy and traditional wisdom remain our ultimate foundation? Technology is moving faster than it ever has, but our deepest strength might just lie in our ability to look back, to craft with intention, and to connect through our shared human story. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep observing, and I'll see you next time.